Welcome back, YouTube. Old Man Sethus is here for last week's gaming news. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Our first topic of the week is going to be on review bombing. This is not a recent phenomenon, but in recent history has gotten pretty goddamn bad, particularly when it comes to sites like Metacritic, who has actually gone out of their way to start doing a little bit something different with their system to make sure this kind of stuff can't happen anymore. To this point, last week saw the release of Horizon Forbidden West DLC, The Burning Shores. Now, warning, spoilers are going to follow.
If you'd like to avoid any spoilers, please click on the video description and choose Chapter 3. While you're at it, please like and subscribe.
To make a long story short, we find our hero Aloy in this DLC, who, if you are unfamiliar, is the heroine of the series, meets a compatriot and equal in another character by the name of Seika. During the course of the expansion, the two heroes overcome things together, they build a relationship, they go on all their adventures together, and they eventually overcome all the challenges that they face. Now, I need all of you, hold on to your pants. I know that this is gonna be really big news and it's about to get real incelly up in here, but at the end of the DLC, you can take the relationship to the next level. That's right, you can make Seika and Aloy a lesbian couple. What? Oh no, Gorilla, how could you? How could you possibly make the main character of this series a lesbian? Oh, woe is me. And of course, that's where the review bombing has come in. It would seem that more than a few of the critics that you can see on Metacritic are finding this a pushing of an agenda, you're shoving these ideals down my throat. You're not really staying true to what the story really was, because up until this point, we all know that Aloy was heterosexual, right? How could you possibly shove her into a lesbian relationship with the other character in this game? Now, we're not going to take the mouth-breathing neckbeards too much to task, because we actually need to talk about why this review bombing thing is actually bad. Reviews are a very important part of the video game ecosystem. People spend their hard-earned dollars on entertainment, and they want to know actually what's going on in games from a semi-objective viewpoint. Of course, all reviewers are going to have some amount of subjectivity to their reviews, but when it comes to sexuality, that shouldn't really be something that affects the score of the game. When it comes to these kind of AAA titles, it really does matter what a critic has to say, because they're usually the more expensive buy when it comes to gaming. So what we're looking for is, how does the game actually play? Is it actually well done? Like, is the combat good? Does the narrative actually make sense as you make progress through the game? Are there bugs? Stuff like that is ultimately what most reviewers should be basing their critical score on. Those actually seem to be the most important questions when it comes to a gamer, at least in my opinion. I don't really know why anyone would really base their buying of a game off of what the main characters are going to end up doing when it comes to their relationship and something else. I'll be honest, everyone, I did not like Horizon Zero Dawn one bit. So obviously Forbidden West and unfortunately this DLC that we're talking about right now wasn't really on my radar, so I haven't played it. However, I did play Horizon Zero Dawn and I can actually see why folks enjoy it. I'm not going to sit here and pan it because of X, Y, or Z, because honestly, I thought the narrative was pretty good. The combat was actually a lot of fun from the little bit that I played of it, and it just kind of made sense to me. So those are the kind of important things I think when it comes to giving critical scores to a game. Those are the things that actually matter. Even if I did consider myself a game critic or a game reviewer, I would actually give the game some pretty decent scores because of all of those factors. Not because I particularly felt one way or another about it in terms of, well, do I really like this or not, but actually based on its merits as a video game. So where does this all bring us? It brings us to the point that it's really awesome that Metacritic is actually going to start going in and taking these reviews and basically nixing them from their system. If you go into a critical score system like that, and the people who are actually running it are taking the time to actually comb through these things and make sure that these ridiculous reviews that have everything to do with how the character's sexuality happened to pan out, or how they look, or something stupid like that, I think it's awesome that they're actually getting in there and getting rid of this stuff, because review bombing is stupid. We've seen it in movies, we've seen it in video games, we've seen it in TV shows, and it's always because someone is up in arms about the most ridiculous of shit that they shouldn't honestly care about. So when it comes down to it, it should really be about, how does this game play, not how this person identifies or who they're going to be sexually active with or what they look like or anything like that. What is your guys' opinion? Do you think that the review bombing is just as stupid as I do? Because I got to imagine, at least from most people that I've talked to, they all tend to agree. Or do you think that there might be too much pushing of an agenda or something else going on in video games these days, and it's starting to grate on you? Whatever the case may be, it's definitely a topic that will continue to be probably the subject of some scrutiny as time moves on. Now, in lighter and funnier news, we have a subject that a lot of you are probably going to get a kick out of because God knows that I have. We're going to be talking about scalpers. Now, back in 2020, we had the pandemic. We also had a massive chip shortage when it came to consoles being made, and things were getting a little bit scarce, particularly when we're talking about the PS5. Now, if we all remember correctly, we had scalpers out there buying up all the PS5s and then driving up the price of them on any resale site as much as they could, whether it's like usually between 400 and 500%, because, you know, they need to feed their kids. This is the only way they're going to be able to make their way through the pandemic. For those 2 years, we as gamers languished under the boot of these assholes because they wanted to try to make an extra buck, and they made it really hard for all of us to actually grab a new PlayStation so that we could play some of the best new titles coming out, or at least the PS exclusives. Or hell, maybe you're just a PS fanboy and you wanted the damn thing. Who knows? Thankfully, at the start of 2022, things started evening out a little bit thanks to Sony finally catching up with demand and getting some more product out there. It was really nice that they finally started to be able to increase supply because obviously the chip shortage was starting to come to a little bit of a close, and obviously the pandemic at this point in time isn't really something that a lot of people are thinking about. The announcement of the PS5 Pro recently is also seemingly putting a little bit more pressure on these scalpers, and honestly, I think that it's great that they're probably going to take another hit. So ultimately, why are we talking about this? Well, I think that all of us as gamers can probably kick back and enjoy the schadenfreude that all of these scalpers are actually facing now, watching their pain as they're probably going to have to start driving down their prices, and most recently have started driving down their prices on these resale sites because the demand's just not there anymore. It's great. If you go to any of these sites, you can usually catch a PlayStation 5 being sold for under the manufacturer's suggested retail price. And you know what? I think it's really, really good. Ultimately, I'm genuinely happy that the capitalistic scum compatriots that we've had to deal with, who have been grabbing these consoles and reselling them for higher price, take it directly up. Fucking pooper, man! Take it, you vile little shits. Take it, please take it, because everyone was so miserable during the pandemic, and you helped stock on that misery, you pricks. Man, I'm so happy that they're actually getting crushed. Anyway, I know that there are some of you out there who probably feel that this is a completely okay business practice. Spoiler alert, you're kind of an asshole too, in my estimation. I truly believe that this particular personality trait when it comes to humans is one of the worst things that we have going for us. I feel like it stymies a lot of the things and the progress that we could have actually done with our species to this point because someone else out there is always looking to make a buck at someone else's expense. So ultimately, nothing is warming my heart more than seeing these awful opportunists get absolutely positively crushed by the boot heel of karma. What do you guys think? Do you think that this is a completely okay business practice? God, you're awful if you actually think that. Or are you in my camp where it's just something that you feel people shouldn't do because people are just out there trying to, you know, be entertained and have a good time and have some joy in their life without having to pay a goddamn premium to actually achieve it? Holy shit, did you hear about Hasbro hiring the Pinkertons to go track down rogue magic cards? What in the hell? Last week, a YouTuber by the name of Old School MTG was raided by the Pinkertons, and if you don't know who the Pinkertons are, they're a mercenary company essentially here in the United States that have been used in all kinds of crazy shit throughout history, raided their home to get these magic cards that they had been opening and making YouTube videos about because evidently it was too much of a spoiler or there was an embargo on them, and holy crap, is this story just absolutely crazy. So somehow, Old School MTG got their hands on 22 boxes of the brand new Magic expansion coming up soon, evidently called March of the Machine: The Aftermath. Now, he's done a bunch of opening already, or did rather do a bunch of opening for all of these on video, and exposed about 75% of the set. So it's not like, the cat's pretty much out of the bag right now, and who the hell knows if, Hasbro's even going to be able to stop these videos making any kind of circulation. So that is where they decided to hire the Pinkertons. Hasbro hired the risk management organization to go to Old School MTG's house to retrieve everything. And I mean everything. They took the boxes, they took the foil wrappers, they took the cards themselves. They actually went there and made sure they had every single card. They counted them down to the card. It's absolutely crazy. I have very little doubt that if somehow, some way, Magic started packaging gum with their fucking product on this, those guys would have found a way to collect the goddamn gum, whether it was from the trash or whether it was in, I don't know, maybe the cat or dog's stomach. Now, Old School MTG has actually released a video where he says that the Pinkertons had come there for stolen product. Old School MTG actually does maintain a complete sense of innocence in this whole thing. He said he bought them from somebody that he knew who was also a tactical card game enthusiast, but wasn't really that hard into Magic, so they thought that they would offload it to their friend because they were so much into Magic the Gathering. So ultimately, Old School MTG would like to say that he got a hold of all these cards legitimately. Now, I think that there's just a little bit of, what the hell going on with this whole story, and the reason being is because if you've ever played Magic, you all know that every one of the card sets that comes out always has a unique look to them. Now, of course, if we're looking at this being the War of the Machine, the Aftermath, the previous set was just called War of the Machine, so there is some sense of like, all right, maybe there could be some kind of innocent, mess up going on here. I don't seem to think that that might really be the case because, again, as an old school Magic player from back in the day, every one of these sets had a unique look from their packaging to the foil they actually came in. So with Old School MTG saying that, oh, this was just an innocent mistake and I thought it was just the previous set and that's why I got it, even though he was on YouTube trying to basically show everyone that, hey, this is the new upcoming set, you guys should really see it, I'm starting to think that there's some very mixed, storytelling going on in this whole thing. Whatever the case may be, what we have here is an absolutely insano story. We have an established company who owns multiple gaming properties. We're looking at Magic the Gathering, we're looking at Dungeons and Dragons, legitimately sending mercenaries to a small YouTuber's house. Note that this YouTuber, Old School MTG, only has like right around 4,000 subscribers, to retrieve literally everything of a stolen product, even though they had already put this product out there for distribution. Somehow, this person that Old School MTG knew got a hold of these boxes through some kind of legitimate means, I would have to think, and just ended up selling it to their friend, and their friend decided to, maybe take an opportunity to grow their YouTube channel a little bit. I mean, goddamn, what were they even thinking with this whole thing? Hasbro is already mired in a bunch of negative press from some really awful decision-making they made back at the turn of the year when it came to Dungeons and Dragons, so this has got to look like another black eye for them. Anyway, this is all absolutely fucking crazy, in my opinion. I don't know, what do you all think? Do you think that Hasbro maybe stepped a little too far? Do you think that Old School MTG was just trying to pull a fast one? Do you think that maybe Old School MTG's friend was trying to pull a fast one? Hell, I don't know. Whatever the case may be, what an absolutely insane story, and I'm really hoping we don't see more of it in the future. That about does it for the last week in news, everybody. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. Remember, give me all you got below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff because we love hearing about what you guys have to say about all these crazy subjects that we cover every week. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll definitely see you soon.